This is going to be a guide on Pain. I've made guides in the past on Rumble, Light, and Dragon. If you haven't already gone and watched them, they're pretty good. I do suggest them. Pain was reworked aside Rumble in the summer update, and a friend suggested it to me, so I'm going to cover it. This guide will cover the movesets, some counters, tips and tricks to use it, combos. It will also cover the skids, trading values, just every facet of the fruit. So, stay tuned. And all the timestamps can be in the description if you want to skip to a specific part. Let's get right into it. Pain is a couple things. First off, the pain meter. You get more pain meter by absorbing pain ghosts. Most of the moves spawn these ghosts, but it adds up. At max, you'll unlock like a pain form, which does add damage, reduces cooldown by about 25%. But I'll get into that in a bit. It has an M1. The M1 does this, and then does that. It does fling the enemy pretty far if it's an NPC. So if you're trying to do it in a combo, I suggest going up and then using a move like that. Because otherwise it will fling it. This one can actually spam to just go up every little bit, which I thought was kind of fun. It does change its last stand, but again, I'll get into that in a bit. The first move, Fury Jab, has two variants. First off, the tap variant fires this beam where it just puts out a bunch of different ghosts. It puts out 5 ghosts. But if you hit the enemy, it actually does... I missed. But, I'll show you guys. It's kind of cool, actually. Fire it at the enemy. It basically, they get hit around by a bunch of pain ghosts. I definitely do like the hold move slightly better. If you hold it, it basically just fires out like a bunch of pain ghosts, and it slowly slows down. This does stun. Eventually, once you hold for a bit, you're able to escape, but you can see it fires actually pretty quickly and doesn't much damage. This is good for like a combo ender, or if you can stick it into the middle of a combo, so it's definitely very good. As I mentioned before, this is the inner pain. It will reduce your thinking, but it'll start draining your pain meter pretty quickly. The X move, Rage Release, has, again, two variants. One where it just does that. And then if you hold it, it acts a bit differently. If you hold it, you get this like glow. You'll jump up, and then you laser them down. This does very good damage, but it can kind of be buggy in some situations. I've noticed that a bit. It should, if you have a good pick, it shouldn't really be an issue. The next move, Agony Nuke, has 3 variants. Its first variant is just tap. It will spawn this like giant beam. This is kind of annoying to hit in air, so that's why I actually always like to use the held move. It can be held to, I'll show you guys, but if it's held, it actually fires out a beam. This is required for the admin panel. As I said, the admin panel is going to be covered in this guide, but check the wiki for how to unlock it. If you hold it once, it goes like this, and then fires off a ray. This does spawn pain ghosts that and pushes them all the way back to the end. So this is very good to combo with a V move if you go C and then immediately V. And this is very good to hit in the air. It can be held one more time to increase the area of it. Like this. This one's very easy to land in combination with V move. Speaking of V move, Torturing Pulse, you fire off a very quick shot. If it hits the ground, it bounces off in a straight direction, and it does tick damage and obscures the enemy screens. Pain skins are one of the very few skins that actually do have an effect. The Torment skin is probably the best skin because it makes their screen not only red but also dark. But I'll get into the skins at the end. This can be held. Its held version isn't great compared to just the tap, but I'll show it to you guys nonetheless. If you held, it goes above your head. Moves much slower, but the tick damage and overall damage is much higher. This is only really good if you have a stun, and it's kind of annoying to use. So I suggest using the tap since it's much faster and easier to hit. The F move has a couple of things. First off, the regular F move just boosts you forward. If you collect a pain ghost while your F move is on cooldown, it automatically restores the cooldown. This can be very good if you combo with just tap Fury Jab, for you to just get this area where you can move around a butt ton. It also works very well with its held. Its held moves unlocked with the admin panel. Again, not going to cover it. If you hold it, you jump up and slam down. You deal good damage, and you spawn pain gills, which you can immediately use to reset your dash. If you do not have a space you can slam down at you just get fired forward. I don't really like using this all that much since because it's got a wind up. But if you're far away from an enemy and you need quick movement, it's pretty good. Pain's whole gimmick is with its second life. Basically, if you die to an enemy, you actually have to die to it. You have to get to 0 HP. You activate your second life. V4 cannot be used in second life, so if you're fighting somebody and they've popped V4 already, you have it, and you're about to die, just pop V4. It can't actually be applied to the second life. You do get some iframes. Not only do your dashes and jumps get much higher, but a couple of moves change. First off, your Z move does not change at all, it just fires. The X move does. You no longer need to hold down the move for it to do the ray move. And the same applies for the C move. If you hold it once, you'll automatically get the larger version. You can still fire it normally, but I do suggest holding it. The M1s are also increased to a crazy amount. It becomes one of the best M1s in the game, basically ensuring you hit it with the insane hitboxes and great damage. The F move basically flings you around the map. It can be used for very good running. And the V move is automatically the second variant, but it does move pretty quickly. Once your pain meter runs out, as you'll see, you do this thing and you die. You have 30 seconds. It's on admin panel form and a minute once you've unlocked the admin panel. In it, you cannot use any of your other moves, so that's why I suggest if you're using pain, run it as a fruit build, because then you can use the second life to its fullest. I will show a combo with the second life that's just purely pain, because it is kind of hard to use if you don't know any combos with it. Definitely one of the cooler parts of this fruit. But let's get right into the combos. Now that I show you the combos, I'm going to get into some tips and tricks as well as counters and then final wrap-ups. So, while using this fruit, I do suggest, as I said previously, at a distance, this D should always be held. And if you're firing at a distance, I suggest just holding the extra mile, because this move is very easy to hit, and it pushes the enemy back, dealing around 4,000 damage. I also just, if you're fighting an opponent and you're down a lot, pop V4 before they kill you, as the second life technically counts as transform, and you cannot pop V4 during transformations. Another thing, if you're grinding, I always suggest stopping at the third M1 to keep your enemies nearby, because the fourth one does fling them pretty far. The Hell V move is good in some situations if you have them stunned, but I would just tap if you're just just stare them down in a non-combo situation, as it moves much faster. One thing about the second life, you have to be very careful around water, because if you die from water and not a player, the player will still get bounty, but you will not go into your second life. Talking a bit more about the second life does have a time limit. The iframes are actually very good, because they do get you out of a combo. You get like 3 seconds of iframes. In your, for running, if you're going to run, because I've seen many paid users just run, you can do this. Basically, you could just spam these two moves together, and you can just zoom around the map. If you're just PvPing, that gives you great movement. Another thing is, I would always spam these M1s, because, you can be facing, you can be facing like this. Like, it's absurd. That, and you can just do this. You can just run and hit them again and again for damage. The M1s are insanely broken on the V2. Also is the movement, so make sure to abuse it. I would also just hold it like an extra second so you automatically get that. And if you're getting low, if you defeat somebody during the V2 and you're still kind when you die, you won't actually use baddies. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to worry about that. One final thing is you can buddy hop after using the F move. This is very good. This is kind of similar to God Human's Z move. What if you do this? You can, if you're not in the middle of a jump while you use the F move and you jump immediately after, like that. Not like that. Not like that. You can kind of boost forwards. It definitely helps your movement. Basically, with the dash and jump, you have to do a dash jump as you're leaving the F move. Once you get it down like that, this definitely is a lot more noticeable during the last stand. But it is a fun little movie tech to just get a bit more outs out. I don't know if you could soul guitar boost out of the F move. I don't use soul guitar boosting all that much, but just keep that in mind. For counters these fruits, it's actually kind of difficult. This fruit is a tricky way to counter, but I'll show you guys. The X move is gettable. The X move can actually be detrimental to the pain user because it's not a true stun. If you just can it, you can can it just heading into it, and you can can it during it, which will allow you to actually use moves during it. If you can it, you cannot can this. But if you can the tap, you can actually use your moves and your M1 during it. So if you're a Buddha user or like a gas user that's trying to hit the enemy, that can be a good time to get some free M1. It actually stuns the pain user and you don't take any damage. The Agony Nuke. This one it breaks Ken, so just be very aware of this. I would also be aware of the V move. The V move is a bit annoying, but the tap move, even though it moves really fast, it bounces off walls and has a small range, so if you see it come towards you, don't get hit by it. It also fills your screen and turns it dark, so even though it's not as a big thing, you can turn your brightness up just to get that bit more edge. I don't think it will help that much, but still. Be aware of the pain ghosts. You may not think they're that big of a deal, but they do 600 damage each, and they do break Ken. So just be aware of that. They also restore the pain user's F move. Also be aware of their pain meter. The pain meter nearly subtracts a fourth of their cooldown, and the time it takes to charge up their moves. The V2, actually my favorite strategy for fighting a pain user. Pain users sometimes run with the V2. Don't even try to catch them. You will not catch them. It's one of the fastest fruits if it's in a V2, and you really have no chance unless you're using like a dragon or something. Even with like a portal that you teleport to the next island, they can just run. Don't even bother. But if they decide to fight you with their V2, my strategy is stall them out. You won't. It's much better to just wait till their pain meter runs out and keep doing combat than actually trying to fight them head on. As if you try to fight them head on and you get stuck in an M1 XC combo, you're just going to get rid of all your HP. Much better to wait them out. And that's my strategy when fighting most pain users. It is kind of a cowardice strategy, just keep that in mind. Final wrap-ups for this fruit. The pain fruit is worth 2.3 million in belly value from the Black Fruit Stealer. For trading value, it's worth 10 mil, and the permanent value is worth 4.4 billion. It's usually overpaid. It has 5 skins, a pretty hefty amount. Well, actually 6 technically. Agony is the main paid. Torment, I have Torment. This is actually probably the best, actually the most advantage, because it turns their screen dark red when you fire the V move. There's also the Celestial, which was obtained from the Celestial event. Turns it purple. I don't have Sadness, Frustration. Sadness turns it blue. Frustration turns it orange, and then Super Spirit turns it. It's kind of a yellow, light blue mix. It's supposed to mimic, I think, Dragon Ball, like Super Saiyan. This fruit was reworked, as I said, in the summer update. It hasn't had much changes to it. There's no real special Easter eggs with this fruit, other than it is contrasting to Rumble. Legendary fruit. Not much else to say about this fruit. Tips for use, as I already said, should be used in a fruit build. Really, any sword works with it. Best accessories, I would say, would be damage accessories. Dino Hood is probably going to be your go-to, just for the movement speed, health, and mainly just the damage buffs. You can also run Dark Coat. Dark Hood would work, but I suggest using Levy Hood. Kitsune Rib is also a good choice. You could use Swan Glasses. I would definitely prioritize Dino Hood, though. Mainly just for damage. You do not want to run a melee defensive build as a paid user, purely because your strength kind of lies in your second life, and you just want to deal as much damage as possible while that second life. For races, Cyborg's always a great one. Draco's a great one. I would actually say Ghoul would be the third best, actually second best race with Draco slightly below it. Cyborg's my best race for most fruits, purely because you make your combos uncannibal. But Ghoul would probably be the second. Mainly just the life steal. Even though life steal doesn't really matter in second life. Mainly just the cooldowns. This is it for Pain. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. If you guys did enjoy this and want to see more guides on fruits like this, or check out my shorts, which is mainly just titles, just subscribe. It does really help my reach. And if you guys want me to make a guide on your favorite fruit, put it in the comments below. I try to do my best on these. So thank you all so much for the support. Also, thank you guys so much for 150 subscribers. I'll continue working. And at 250 subscribers, I'll make sure to do a program giveaway for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.